Okay.
For sure. All right, is everyone able to see? Nope, it looks like there's some
Oops,
other.
that's mine. Is
Nope.
that mine? No. Okay.
Can you see the agenda now?
Yep.
Okay. Helpful. I'll go to the top here for you.
Awesome. Time is it? We're at 6:33. Do we have quorum, Tristy? Oh,
I'm on
you're
mute.
on mute.
I have to take attendance
books are on
first,
the
and I
bed.
can tell you.
Okay, no problem. We're just gonna wait a few minutes and make sure we have quorum. Thanks everybody for coming this evening. I haven't done this in quite some time, so please be patient with me.
Do you want me to do attendance now, or you want to call it to a meeting?
I can call it as long as we have quorum.
We're pretty close, I think. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, we're good.
Okay, cool. It is 6:35 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting. Thank you, everybody. My name is Rosabelle Agbayani, and I am the interim co-chair of the Poway Unified School District Community Advisory Committee. Welcome this evening. This meeting is being recorded for possible public replay and sharing, so just to let you guys know. So I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to Tristy for the roll call.
All right, Heather Marshall. I saw her on here. Rosabelle,
Here, present.
me, Jill, Kia. I saw
Present.
Heather. Yep, I saw Heather, Allison. I saw Chris.
Hello.
There we go. Nadine Clark. No Nadine yet. Faith.
I think Faith is not going to make it.
Okay.
Got an email.
Oh, got it.
She let us know.
Okay. Liz Dahl. No Liz yet. Katie Ward. I saw Luis. I saw Miriam and Araceli. We are
Here.
good. Thank you. All right.
All right, thank you. All right, could you, let me see. I just want to see the agenda. Could you move it down a little bit so I could see the welcome? So this is the time for public input. Oops, the other way. This is the time for public input. Could you lower it a little bit, go down a little bit more?
Do you want me
I
to
wanted
read
to
it,
remind you
Rosabelle?
about the recording piece. I saw that on the line ahead of the public input.
Oh, she said that part already. Rosabelle, you're on mute.
Okay, there you go. All right, this is the time for public input, an opportunity for members of the public to share comments and concerns with the CAC. In the interest of time, speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, with a total of 15 minutes allotted for all public input. Please respect student and personnel privacy. CAC members and district staff at this time cannot respond to individual concerns in this forum, but we will take your contact information for future follow-up. Are there any public comments?
Hi,
Hi, Stacy. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that nobody followed up with me from last month's public input that I shared about my concerns over the transition program and it being discriminatory towards the rest of the school as it's year round and all of the other regular high schools are not, which means that families aren't able to take part in the same types of things as if all your kids are in the same time frame, and that the 7:15 start time of the transition program I believe is not legal. I've been told I should file, a complaint, and I was hoping to maybe work a little bit more with the school instead of just going off and filing a complaint about, the start time. They're considered 12th graders is how they're paid to the school district, and 12th grade is considered high school. They should be starting at 8:30, the same as the rest of the high schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any public comments? All right, going once, going twice. Third time, I'm going to move to the next agenda item, which is the approval of the minutes. Everybody on the CAC had a chance to review the minutes for January 2023. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve January's minutes.
Okay, that's Chris.
Jill seconds.
Seconded by Jill. Open discussion. Any discussions or changes needed to be made to the minutes? Okay. Can I have all the CAC members raise your hand, either physically or virtually? All in favor? And I'll give Trustee time to count the votes. Okay, trustees ready? Please put your hands down.
Are there any
Heather,
nays?
I'm gonna ask as soon as I
Okay,
get
sorry.
the hands down. If you could put your hands down for the ayes, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for any nays. Going once, twice, 3 times. All right. The minutes have been approved. Thank you. Let's see. Discuss call for motion. Okay. The next agenda item is a discussion call for motion. I'm assuming this has something to do with the Zoom. I believe we're supposed to vote for to meet on Zoom next month. Is that correct? Can someone confirm, Trustee?
It was told to me at the September meeting that I was not at, because of, we were told at that point we were on Zoom for the rest of the year.
Okay.
And so we don't need to vote every month, to remain on Zoom. So
Okay.
if
Okay.
Jody wants to say that's what I understood. Okay. So I don't think we need to make a motion to remain on Zoom for the rest of this business year.
Okay. Sounds good. Next, I will turn over the floor to Michelle O'Connor Ratcliffe for the Board of Education Liaison Report.
Thank you, Rosabelle. Hi, everybody. Michelle O'Connor Ratcliffe. I'm this year's Vice President of the school board. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on over the past month in special education land. And I know that you have a lot of directors here right now, at least two that I'm spotting, who will probably want to tell you a little about the same things I'm going to. So I'll just touch on some things quickly. The Equity Advisory, not the Equity Advisory Committee, the Inclusive Practices Committee met recently. And I thought you guys would be interested that 4 out of 5 board members attended that. We're unable to participate when more than 2 of us attend due to Brown Act issues, but that 4 of us are interested enough to attend that meeting, sit there, take it in, and
Michelle, your sound cut out. We can't hear you.
anybody, can you give me a thumbs up, thumbs down? You can
You got
hear me
it,
now?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know what to do if my home internet is going to betray me. I don't know what to say about that. Maybe I'll just try to make this really fast. Let me know if I cut out again though. I can't do anything about it, but I would love to know. Anyway, good meeting, great information from our partners, particularly from our space partners who do the middle school work. They had some really interesting statistics and information to share on the progress there. So really good information moving forward. I also was able to take a tour with Mr. Mizell, and Tiffany King actually was there, of the new Empower program that's now located over at Rancho Bernardo High School. That was a great tour. Wonderful to be able to better serve this group of students in a way that better fits their individual needs, because we weren't doing a very good job of it before. And this is an improvement. I'm not ever going to say that a program is perfect, but I'm really glad that we as a district were creative enough to come up with something that works for these students a whole lot better than what was happening before. And the proof, I guess, is also in the fact that it's expanding. They're expecting even more students next year and to open a second class. So that's great information. If you're not aware of what the Empower program is, it was kind of the breakup of the basis program from Poway High School. And it seems to be working much better. It's early. This is the first year that it's been there, but looks like it's going well for the students who are there. So I wanted to share that I was able to tour that with Tiffany. What else did I want to throw out? Oh, the Inclusive Practices team. And I know there were a couple members of the CAC, on that tour as well. But we did classroom visits over at Poway High School last week. And we walked in and out of 7 co-taught classes there to get an idea of what they're doing. I mean, the co-taught classes, just so you know, are the education specialists or the special education teachers with a gen ed teacher, both in the same classroom, teaching a mixed group of students, some with IEPs and some without. It is unmodified curriculum at this point, at least over at Poway High School it is. And they're getting some real success from the improvements in the program there. with 348 students with IEPs, 270 of them are in at least one co-taught class over there. So their numbers are getting a lot better apparently for the number of students with IEPs who are able to complete the A through G college prep classes. So that's great news for them. They've got a long way to go, but this is a big improvement for them. So I think the group was really interested in what we saw, asked a lot of questions when we regrouped afterwards. So really good stuff, really interesting things. I do hear that we're gonna do some walks at Rancho Bernardo High School next. So I've been told that it'll look really different there. So our sites are doing the work. They're getting better. They're not all at the same point in the journey for inclusive education, but they're getting closer. I do think that the next step for Poway High is probably figuring out how to include our students who have more extensive support needs, because those students were not in these co-taught classes that we saw. So I would love to see some examples of co-taught classes where those students are being served and are able to access our gen ed curriculum at a modified level or whatever their level is, because that's important and that's a goal for us as a district. So hoping to see some of that at some school at some point. I know that's our end game, and we're moving that way. Always too slowly for my taste, but we're moving. So I love to see the progress. Wanted to mention quickly the parent ambassador parent presentation yesterday. Kudos to Deb and Jody. This was the most parent interest that I have seen. I don't know if any of you were there, but we had over 50 Zooming in and at least that many present in the room in person. It was a really impressive turnout. And I'll say it's the first time that there have been any significant number of men in the room as well. So both sides of the parent guardian equation were really interested in the after school activities that are available for our students with disabilities. And they had a bunch of guest speakers in there. Again, I don't want to take anything away from Jody or Deb if they're going to present a little bit about what happened at that meeting, but amazing information, really just high interest. So kudos. These are getting better and better every single time. I can't wait to go to the next one. No pressure, guys. And the last thing I wanted to hit is kind of it'll be a preview of my board report for our school board meeting on Thursday. But I'm a big musical theater in particular person. I hit every single show that any of our high school and middle school groups put on. And the past couple of weeks, I've seen 3, and they were exceptional, wonderful. But while watching one of those shows, I did notice a young woman who was clearly thoroughly enjoying herself, kind of bouncing and squealing a little bit, making some noises, happy noises. She was enjoying it, but she was getting some looks from the other audience members, and her companion was clearly very uncomfortable. Really shortly thereafter, her companion, maybe her mother, but a caregiver, friend, walked her, took her by the hand and walked her out of the theater, with her protesting the whole way. She did not want to go. It was less than 30 minutes into the show, and they did not come back. I didn't speak to them to confirm it, but it appeared that her disability was making it difficult for her to sit still and remain silent in that theater. But she wanted to be there. She clearly wanted to be there. They bought tickets and they came to enjoy a performance, an outstanding performance, by the way, because that's all our students put on in our performing arts arenas. That's a high point for our district, but they did not feel comfortable enough and accepted enough to stay. And I know in this group, how many of us have thought about bringing our children to a performance, but not knowing how maybe some unexpected behavior of theirs might affect the experience, just skipped it and stayed home. I know I have. I have braved it and been pleasantly surprised, and we've found some mechanisms that work for my child when we go to the shows. But that's not everybody finds it, and it's heartbreaking to me. We strive to be an inclusive school community. and yet not everyone is included yet. So we're all learners in a school community, and I know we want to do better. So my challenge and my offer that I plan to make, and I want to put it together because I don't want to stumble over my words, so I'll just be reading it at that time. But at the board meeting, I want to help any of our schools' performing art groups who want to do better, to tackle that, offering myself and any expertise I can to partner with any of our school groups that want to create a more accessible, inclusive experience for our audiences. That's what we do here. I think it's important. I think it's worth it. So that is something I'm working on, how I'm going to wrap that into a little 5-minute speech at the end of our board meeting on Thursday. But that's something I plan to tackle in the coming months. Our next set of shows is coming up at the end of March and beginning of April. And then there's another set in May. So I hope I can reach some of those theater groups. And I know that there's dance, there's band, there's orchestra, all of these performing arts groups. I know that so many of our students and community members who have a hard time would love to be able to attend and feel accepted and welcomed. So that's something I'm going to be working on. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Our school board meeting is on Thursday. I don't think there's anything that would be, directly related to our students with disabilities on that agenda. But if you have any questions, let me know.
Well, you've got a couple of volunteers who would like to help you with that endeavor,
gonna
Jill and
in the chat.
Araceli.
Okay, I'm going to check the chat. If you pop an email in there, I'm going to take a little picture of it with my phone so I can contact you. I'm not. Here's the thing, being a school board member, I can't tell them this is not a top-down thing. We can't tell them we are doing this district-wide. I need them to say, yes, we accept the challenge. We want to do this. And I'm going to make sure that if there is funding, and I don't think it's going to be very much, most of these things are simple, cost-free. But if there's funding issues, I'm going to make sure they get it. So yeah, I appreciate your support, and I will be in contact with you, but not until I hear from some theater groups. I need there to be interest before I push my agenda as much as I can, but I need them to say yes. So and I will get in touch with you. Thank you guys.
Araceli, I saw your hand up. I just want to make sure. Did you have any questions or comments?
No, sorry, that was a mistake.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's okay. Just want to make sure. Kia, I know that you had your hand up. Did you have any questions or comments?
No, she said, how many of you have had the same experience? So I just did the hand raise.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that report, and thank you.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you for all the work you guys are doing. Thank you. Thank you. I know transition is hard, and you guys are awesome. Thank you.
We're trying. All right.
Jill, can I just make a quick comment? It's Jill. Michelle, I really appreciate this thought, and I know you can't, it's not a top-down effort, but any way I can help. I grew up in the performing arts, and I went to a performing arts high school in Florida. That was my life for a very long time. And coming from that world and being part of that world, and really that was where I grew my love for diversity and inclusion, because we all were different. We all were, that was what kept us mentally healthy in high school, where a lot of our friends, who were different and quirky, it didn't turn out so well. And there's so much diversity in that community that I think there's going to be passion for that on the theater end, but perhaps, students are students, so they might not know what they don't know. But anything I can do to help with that, I would love to.
Thank you so much. And I will take you up on that. Thank you, Jill.
And Tiffany left a comment. Tiffany, I don't want to speak for you if you want to speak for yourself.
Sure, I just put in there, Michelle, that LSS and Kyla, the Vapatosa, as you know, we were just discussing this, and we think we have a school that will be interested in a pilot for the next show. So a sensory-friendly version.
Care to share which one?
I believe we are looking at Westview, since Mr. Townsend came from the Old Globe, and he is very much aware of how to implement a sensory-friendly performance. So fingers crossed that pans out, but we are on top of it. So
I will lay my cards on the table. I talked to Dr. Phelps about this 2 weeks ago. She said if it requires funding, she'll make sure we get it.
yes,
And I have, my daughter is in the drama department at Westview, and I know Mr. Townsend very well. So I already talked to him. So yay, it's coming from all sides. We're gonna get one for sure. I love it.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead. Thank you very much, Michelle, for being here this evening. Appreciate you always keeping us in the loop and keeping our special education community in your heart and in your mind. So the next agenda item is the district liaison report. So I'm gonna give the floor to Jody Payne.
Much appreciated. Thank you. And Michelle, thank you for the kudos. And yes, I agree. Kudos to Deb. And I know she will be reporting out more, but I have to give a little factoid. We had 87 people in the Zoom room, and we had over 50 in the community room for a total of over 137 people. Absolutely the largest group that we've had. So no pressure, but yes, pressure, we'll take it. And I'm confident Deb will share out a little bit about our next knowledge and networking session that we'll be having. So for the district liaison report, I know there were questions in prior CAC meetings related to Leg Day or Legislative Day. For folks to know, the date right now is May 3rd, 2023, and we'll be working on next steps as to which CAC member will be attending with which director of special education. So planting that little teaser there for the group, hold on to it. And those who may be interested, you can surely add into the chat. That would be helpful, or just reach out to myself on the side. I would receive that information there. So again, May 3, 2023, and it will be in Sacramento. All right, so a couple other updates. Tiffany and her middle school and high school groups have been putting on quite a production and multiple productions, if you will, for our families related to those transitional years. So students matriculating maybe from middle school into high school, there's been general conversations about that, as well as from elementary to middle school. So moving forward, there will be more site-specific trainings available for our students who are matriculating, and you will be receiving personal invites, right, from your sending school site. So any of you that have kiddos that are going maybe from 5th to 6th, or from 8th to 9th, I have to think of our timeline there, you'll be getting those emails soon. And then one other piece that I wanted to touch upon is we recently had our professional growth day. Last Monday, the 30th of January, we held professional growth. And I think it's an interesting fact for all of us to consider. The school psychologists got together and a big part of their learning was just really taking a deeper dive in how they can avoid school psychologist burnout. I think it's important for this group to certainly hear and recognize that our school psychologists on our sites are oftentimes the sounding board and the support network for all staff. People will often come to them for therapeutic advice. They'll come to them for personal advice. And so it was a great opportunity for our school psychologist group to take a step back and really reflect on self-care and how they can manage the more intensive workloads that they've been dealt here more recently. I thought that was a neat opportunity. And there was one other piece, but I'm going to actually send it off to Deb. If you don't mind, Deb, you can talk just more about our next knowledge and networking with parent investors. So that is all I have for now. Thank you very much.
Can I bounce off of what you just said?
Please.
I want to do a huge shout out to Tiffany for letting us at Valley do a Spanish speaking in-person transitional informational meeting. And we will be having that on February 16th at Valley Elementary. So flyers are going out to not only our students at Valley, but also district-wide for the elementary to middle transition team. So thank you for letting us do that, Tiffany.
All right, back to you, Rosabelle.
Here I go, sleeping on the job. All right, so Deborah, did you have anything else to report for the parent ambassador report?
Well, if everybody wants to hear a little bit of a snippet of what we talked about, otherwise, no. Well, we had amazing turnout as they've talked about, and standing room only, actually. The topic was exploring after-school activities and care, and we were concentrating on the Poway community. And so we had speakers from, some of the sources that have already been successful with working some of our, students in our special ed community. So we've had Taekwondo, we had Jiminy Kids, and challenged basketball. They all spoke to some personal experience working with these kids. So they have a heart for it. But we're growing that resource list, so we can always add to it. And so we started the presentation with San Diego Regional Center and just focusing on those students who are clients, and what are some of the social rec funding that's come back to be a part of services, non-medical therapies. We talked a little bit about daycare funding and a snippet on camp. So I think what I've heard is, everybody walked away with some nuggets, and was very thankful. Today I sent out the video. I couldn't get the recording on our webpage fast enough. So I was able to get that email out with the resource link to our webpage as well. So yeah, it's just the resources are growing, and we had time for meet and greet at the end. So that gave the parents about 15 minutes or so. So it was a long meeting, lots packed in there. And we'll probably have more conversations with San Diego Regional Center. The next Knowledge and Network will be next month, and we will have our guest speakers will be Tiffany King and Heather Schauder speaking on transitions, and I believe the alternative pathway as well, if that's correct, right? So that'll be interesting. I think a lot of people are interested in what that is. So yeah, that's all I have.
That's awesome. Deborah, can you answer a question for me? If any community members were interested in providing, guest speaking on a certain topic, what is the process and who would they contact?
Me or
Okay.
Jody, yeah, one of us, that just kind of talk about, what your subject matter is. So yeah.
Okay. I think I was just putting it out there just for in case anybody had any topics that might be helpful. So thank you for that.
And we're also asking the parent community too what they want to hear. So
yeah,
we can take information from wherever we get it. So
awesome. Thank you. Perfect. Moving on, CAC chair report. I don't really have anything to report, but I do know that, let's see, I had this pulled up. Heather Marshall had similar topics. I think we're all bringing up the same things, but inclusive practices at Poway High. She attended both transition to high school and transition to middle school meetings that were held over the past couple of weeks, and they were very informative with program specialists and Tiffany King presenting. Good way to start giving our special needs community great information with Q&A, and it definitely helps having some startup information on what to expect. So thank you. I just want to say I follow Poway Unified School District on Instagram. And I always love like when they highlight different schools, and I noticed that this past week that they highlighted Valley Elementary. Yay, Tristy. And what I really appreciated was that it was done in Spanish with English captioning. So I think that is a perfect way to be inclusive and really put forth the diversity in our community. So kudos to the district for that, but that is all I have to comment on. Moving forward, I don't see that there's any old business unless can be corrected, and no new business. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the subcommittee reports. Does anybody have anything to report on the spring event? That's usually Heather's. All right, I think Heather Marshall is asking for spring event ideas. So if anybody has any ideas, anybody have any ideas for spring events? Okay, moving on. I think this is going to be a very short meeting. Communication. So I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to Chris Correa.
Okay, so our bio forms were due at the end of January. There's still a handful of people that still need to do it. I will put the link in the chat, and I don't know if Rosabelle can email the people who haven't done it, but make sure to do that. And then a little short snippet, our communications media team met up yesterday, and we came up with some new ideas, and I am going to run it by with Jody and Deb, and we're going to meet soon to talk about what we can do to support media and communication. So yay, that's it from our side.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. Membership and outreach. Tristy, I don't see anything on the agenda, but do you have anything to report?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Okay. Governance and bylaws. Luis, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, just 3 things coming up. One on the governance, we'll need guidance from staff. Is COVID February 28th, and how this impacts the Brown Act and our meetings. Probably need some guidance on that, and I'll do some more research. There is the selection of the 2 folks from CAC to participate in the legislative day on the date May 3rd, and also setting up the our first meeting for the year with Heather and you, Rosabelle, Faith as well on the governance subcommittee. And that.
You cut out earlier. Can you just repeat what you said about guidance regarding the Brown Act? Who did you need feedback from?
Yeah, from staff regarding the Governor Newsom's ending the emergency for COVID on remote or hybrid. And then also there's been some changes in 2023 about posting dates and stuff like that. I know that's changed as of January 1st. So again, kind of me preparing a list and see if that kind of like is that list is accurate of the recent changes.
Okay, perfect. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
As far as I know we were going back and forth on actually meeting dates. And I don't know if that is what Luis is speaking about. We had originally proposed meeting dates, and then the event location was already booked. And so that we were thinking about a different one, but then we were back on Zoom. So I believe we are keeping the original meeting dates that we agreed upon. So they should be all, Danielle, I think, put them all back on the website. So those meeting dates should be correct for this year.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Anybody else have any comments, questions? Thank you, Luis, for your update. Community engagement, that is me. I don't have anything to report. Well, I do have a question though. Jody, would you know what the timeline is for us? Usually we review the budget, is it, I can't remember what the acronym is. It's not the LCAP, it's the LCAFF.
Right. So a timeline as to when that would be available for your
Yes.
review, is that the question?
Yes,
I
yes.
will research that. I will find out for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. If you could just let us know, and that way the community engagement can maybe facilitate that, and then we can just do a recap at the CAC meeting. That way it will facilitate the process. And that's all I have to report for that. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Wellness Committee. So Jill?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, this wellness subcommittee has been in the works in planning a family multimedia group, which we would like to ask for a motion for our event. I hear that that's important. So if anybody would like to make a motion for us to have a wellness multimedia group, our goal is to bring parents together, parents of children of all ages in the special education community, around a topic once every few months. We have gotten feedback that podcasts are ideal for parents to listen to, or short videos. So we had the idea of just starting somewhere, picking a series of videos or a podcast, and starting with an event. Now, I'm not sure, would we need a motion for this every single time we have an event, Rosabelle?
I would suggest a motion to have the events, and then as your team plans out the dates, then yes, you'll have to go back. My suggestion is if you decide on dates, that if you can kind of list it out, that way you can vote on it, or you can do it individually.
Got it. Okay. My vision, and again, my goal is really to have something consistent where parents feel like they can come together. And I think the accessibility of Zoom is so nice, because if parents can just listen to or watch as much as they can of the topic that month, or that every bi-monthly, and then come and connect, I just think another opportunity to bring parents together is important in the community. So even if we just were, eventually I would love, for it to be every other month, or the first Wednesday of the month, or something like that. But I hear what you're saying. If we just come up with some dates through the rest of the spring, sounds like our goal of having it on the 15th of February will not happen, because we need a motion and we need to pick a date. Is that true? Do we need to pick a date and have the motion specific to that date?
It's up to you. So you can, to move forward, I just want to make sure everybody is in consensus that this is, as a CAC, as you're proposing to do these podcasts, I want an opportunity to make sure that the CAC is in agreement of that. And then you can also submit the dates at a future date if you come up with consensus. So it's one and then the other.
Got it.
So if someone wants to make a
okay, so the clarity is around making sure it's a CAC event. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I would like to ask for a motion to have a family wellness multimedia group.
Tristy makes a motion to have a family wellness committee group meeting via Zoom.
Can I get a second for the motion?
I second.
Okay, Louis seconds. Open for discussion. Does anybody have any comments, questions, concerns?
How in depth are we going on the multimedia, like the discussions? Like, is Poway unified? I mean, like, I know we're kind of separate entity, but like how I don't know. What does it all entail? I guess I know you did a brief section. Is it about like what all parents are going through? I don't know, like classroom stuff. Like I'm just curious on.
For example, the topic that we had picked just to get started, because it sounded relevant for a lot of families, was a podcast where it's an interview with an author who wrote a book about the lost year, quote unquote, the lost year related to COVID schooling. So it's a book. It's more like a current event topic. And there was interest that was emailed to me via some parent people on the subcommittee of the wellness and CAC members who had interest in that topic, who thought it was relevant. So we picked that and the series of Shelling Moore videos, which are about inclusion practices, which is prominent in the district and all the school, community topics these days. So it was kind of like, let's start somewhere. Here's a series of videos. They're 5 minutes each. And here's a podcast. And if you can listen to one, and if you can watch both, great. But in terms of discussion, really just because, bringing a group of people together, in my opinion, is great, but it's always more helpful and more, if there's more facilitation and more, there's more comfort, I think, for people when there's a topic to be discussed. And so more so, instead of just kind of sitting and talking about what's going on for people these days, having a topic to anchor it to, and then parents being able to share reflective thoughts or questions, share ideas.
I see what you're saying. It's more like a flipped classroom, right? Giving them homework to do, watch the podcast, then come for the discussion, and join in that, and whatever the topic entails.
Yeah, my thought initially when I mentioned it to Heather Plotsky in the early fall, was, kind of like a book club. But I don't know about you, but I don't read a lot of books that lengthy books, at least. So then she said, well, you could, could be like a multimedia group, and then you could pick like a 5-minute video or a podcast, or and that's kind of where it evolved from, was that maybe it would be great to do a book. I would love to do a book at some point. It would probably help me to have the motivation with everybody to read a book that might be of interest for everybody. But kind of something along those lines, and being realistic that our time is limited and our energy is limited, and having something that we can anchor a conversation to.
Okay.
So that's where we are.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so we have a motion to approve for a wellness event that is a discussion. Trustee made the motion. It was seconded by Luis. I'm going to go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Am I supposed to vote?
As I, yes, you are
Okay.
a voting member. I'm like looking for Tristy. Where's Tristy? Okay, there she is. Okay, you're good. Okay, if you can put your hands down, unless you are a nay. All opposed, please keep your hand. Please raise your hand. Just want to clarify. Heather, you have your hand up. Are you for aye or nay? Okay, perfect. Those opposed, you say nay or raise your hand. Okay. Motion carried. We will be having an event as Jill Cooley had proposed. Please keep us updated on your progress in terms of dates and things like that. We'll make sure that we communicate that with the district staff so that we have, we can work on planning that. Thank you very much for doing that. That is amazing. It's going to be great for the community. All right. Anything else, Jill?
No, that's what we have been working a lot on the last several months and trying to get it going. So that's where we are.
Thank you to your team, Tristy and Heather, Andrea and Liz. So thank you very much for moving forward with that. So the next on our agenda is announcements. So the next Board of Education meeting is Thursday, February 9th, which is this Thursday at the district office. The next CAC meeting is Tuesday, March 7th. Oh my goodness, it's already March, via Zoom. Shout outs to everyone for just sticking with us as we transition. Like I said, I'm very new to coming back, and you guys have been doing such great work, and I've just been sticking to my little community engagement hole. And so now I have to broaden my spectrum and really understand all the great work that you guys are doing. So I just want to say thank you both now and in advance for your patience and enthusiasm and commitment. So it is 7:21. Does anybody have anything else to bring on the roundtable discussion or anything? Otherwise, I am going to give you guys back a lot of your time this evening. So hopefully you'll find some time to rest, relax. Thank you again. If you have anything that you need from us, please contact the CAC via the Gmail account, pusdcac@gmail.com. I'm going to go ahead and close this meeting. It is 7:22. Meeting has been adjourned. Thank you.